Hey guys, Burke here from Focus PT with more rehab tips and tricks inspired by you, by your questions, concerns, observations, and requests. Today, we are all about these exercise bands. I'm going to give you a very brief rundown of the different kinds out there and what I think they're going to be ideal for each sort of type of band there is. This is subjective. It's just based on my personal experience as a PT. And I haven't tried everything. So you may have access to exercise tools that you really love and work. That's great. Leave them in the comment section below. Let me know what you're using and I'll be sure and check it out. So what I'm going to try to do is just talk briefly about the main categories of bands and what I think each of them are good for and if they're worth considering for you in your home rehab gym setup. So I'm going to start with the first, which is the classic. This is the TheraBand. TheraBands have been around for a long time. This particular one is the blue, which is their heavy resistance. And we use these every single day, and I have for the last 22 years in the clinic. They come in a bulk roll. I can cut off a length like this, and I can give it to a patient and get them started on doing some exercises. So what I love about bands in general, I should pause here over more traditional weights like dumbbells or kettlebells, is that the band, the resistance is basically from wherever you fix the end. So with a dumbbell, your resistance is always with gravity. So obviously picking it up from the floor, curling it, those are the kind of motions you're going to do. With the band, I can change that anchor point, and so I can really customize how I want the exercise to work based on where I put that fixed end. And so that is the beauty of bands in a nutshell. The other thing I like about them is that they don't weigh hardly anything, and so they're easy to throw in your gym bag or a travel bag and take them with you. And so they're very practical. They don't require a lot of space to store these at home. And so for folks that that want to do their rehab well, but don't want to invest in any kind of a gym space at home, bands are great because you can just put it on a hook so in your closet and it's going to be out of sight. It's not going to take up a lot of room. So that's awesome. Some downsides of the bands is that the material is going to degrade. This rubber, especially if it's exposed to light, and with time, these things are eventually going to rupture. And that's probably the one knock that I have over the TheraBand. Really, the only knock is that they're prone to tearing. And so for that reason, there are other types of bands out there that are going to be a little bit more durable and maybe better suited for a home program. So if I was shopping for a home gym, I would not choose this style. This is really great for me here in the rehab setting, but maybe not for you at home. Just before I move on to the other kind, I'm just going to show you, there are many people, many other manufacturers who make bands. This is one made by Vive, and this is their light band. And this is some kind of a proprietary blend that they've put together that is a mix of the elastic, the normal elastic, and it's got something else in it. So this band just feels different. What I feel through it is there's a certain smoothness to the resistance, and then you kind of hit a point where the resistance ramps up quite a bit. And so with bands like that, and that's not uncommon when companies mix different materials, you do sort of need a long band because I might be doing maybe a throwing type of a rehab move where I want that resistance to be fairly uniform through the whole thing. I don't want it to ramp up real quick, especially when I get into a more vulnerable or harder position of my shoulder. So for that reason, these blended fibers, I do tend to like a longer band, whereas other manufacturers like TheraBand, their resistance profile, it's kind of stays pretty similar throughout the whole travel. So that's just something to be aware of if you do happen to be shopping for this style. The next style that's been around a while are the sport tubes. So it's the same principle. This is elastic, but because it's a tube, there's really no single edge that's going to get weak and vulnerable to tearing. I'm sure people have torn these. In fact, if you've torn one, Let me know in the comment section below. I would find that pretty impressive unless it's just been sitting in the sun for years and it just got really weak and corroded. But for the most part, these are going to be resistant to tearing. A lot of them do come with handles, which is good. This one, Flybold, makes this one. I'm not sure where we picked that one up, but these are always good to have. They're very dependable and they have a lot of the same benefits as the flat bands, plus the additional durability. What this one lacks is a really easy, clear way to anchor this, unless you actually put this handle right over a door or around the side of a door and pinch the door around this webbing. I'm not sure that would work with these. Otherwise, you're going to have to fabricate some other second kind of anchor in order to have a fixed point. This is sort of designed to be held with both hands when you're doing things. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you get this style, you'll want some kind of a door anchor. Another style of rubber elastic is going to be something like this. This is a little sport cord. This is made by Perform Better. Actually, this is made by SunPal. We have plenty of Perform Better ones, but this one, these are sold by width. And so I'm guessing this is maybe like 3/4 of an inch. This one's 1/2 an inch, give or take. And that just translates to how much resistance there are from the bands. So here at the clinic, we have a variety of widths of these so that we have lots of options to choose from. If I am looping the band around a stall bar or a ladder bar, this is usually the one that I go to because I can just make a girth hitch around that rung. And then now I've got a double loop here that's really good for doing exercise. So imagine my arm here, of course, is to run. So these are great. You can find these online very easily from lots of different makers. And so I like to have these. And then the last general category we're going to talk about, these are also by Vive, and these are fabric. And this is relatively new for me. I haven't seen a ton of these fabric resistance bands. I haven't used a ton here in the clinic. If you've used these a lot, let me know what you like to do with them. I have some other fabric ones that are made by Rock Tape, the brand, and I actually really like those. I like to travel with those. Those are probably my favorite. They have loops on them. They're pretty cool. I'm sorry I don't have them here to show you. But this was a sample that Vive sent us to check out. And I can tell you that is a lot of resistance. So this is going to be for your bigger muscles. This is for legs primarily. They may have set that's going to be more appropriate for arms. This one's a little bit stretchier. This is probably the lightest one that they have, but it's still pretty stiff. So yeah, these are going to be for legs primarily. If you find one of these in a narrower width and that more of that 1-inch width that's longer, then that just, you can assume that's going to be a little bit more total body, more upper body focused, whereas these are going to be more for the legs. So that's a really quick rundown of a few of the typical bands that you're going to encounter when you're looking for exercise devices, a little bit of my thoughts about which ones that I choose to use and which ones are my favorite. And good news, these are not expensive for the most part. So if you gather a little bit of a collection, that's usually not going to cost you too much, and that will just give you more options. So if I had to choose from all of these different kinds, just a couple, I would choose this kind of power band, and I would choose the fabric Rock Tape band. And those would be my go-tos because with those, I feel that I'm going to be able to get the bulk of my exercises done. If you're working with a rehab person like me and you can get some of this TheraBand style, whatever version you choose, I would go for it because it's cheap and you can use it and develop some good habits, get some good rehab done. But when it's time for you to invest, those are the two types that I would say I would probably go with. Let me know in the comment section below if you have other experience and you can share that with me, if you have brands that you particularly like. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time.